Hey everyone, this is Jamie, and I am 10 months on T as of a few days ago, but I'm actually not going to make a video about that. Most of my videos are just, new body hair, uh, emotional stuff, just changes, and I thought I'd make a new video about something different today. So, since I've been back in California, I started going to therapy again, and now we're really like getting down to what we need to talk about in order for me to get my letter for surgery. So, basically I come in and I take some notes about what I want to talk about, and we go through kind of like my life, and just my life and how certain events now make more sense now that I have this trans identity. So basically, it's like it's like story time. I get to tell all these stories that I remember from a kid that I've processed myself that, now make so much more sense. So I figured I'd just share some of those stories with you guys, and maybe that'll help some of you that are like on the fence, think about your own stories and all these other things that happened to you as a kid that you just assumed happened to everyone else, when really they don't. They don't. So I want to start off with this one story about a best friend that I had. I believe it was in third grade, and he was, a guy came into our class mid year, and we became best friends, and we did everything together. And I just remember him as like a goofy looking kid. I don't remember his name, but I remember this part of my life. I was, classified as like a tomboy. And so I wore like boys' clothes, just t-shirt, shorts, whatever, like nothing very very gender neutral clothing. But also I had this horrible haircut. It wasn't just a bowl cut, it was like a bowl cut mullet. So I had like the bowl cut like this, and then it was like long in the back, and it was awful. But basically I'd always get mistaken for a little boy. Um, and I never really corrected people because I didn't really care. So we were best friends, and one day, we must have been friends for like at least a couple months before this happened. But one day, we were on the swings with a few other classmates, and someone had said something to him referring to me being female. And he looks at me and he's like, "Jamie, are you a girl?" And I looked at him and I was like, I guess so. And then he says, "So when you get older, you're gonna have babies?" And I remember pondering this for a second, and I'm like, maybe. And then that was the end of the conversation. And I remember this very like distinctly. I can probably tell you like what I was wearing and like what he was wearing and like what was the looks on people's faces. And that's kind of the end of that memory. I think I would have remembered if like he all of a sudden like made a big deal or we stopped being friends. But I'm pretty sure we were friends, for the rest of the year, and then I think he switched schools. But that, I remember that as being one of my earliest like memories of like thinking about my gender in that kind of way. Um, Another, even funnier story. I believe it's the same year because I had the same horrible haircut. But back in the day when I was in school, the cool place to hang out was the skating rink, and all my friends were boys basically, and so I went to one of my friends' birthday parties at the skating rink. So we're all skating around, acting like we're the shit. We're like in third, fourth grade or something. And I exit the rink to get a drink at the concession stand. And as I'm getting off the rink, I'm by myself. A group of about 10 girls like approaches me, the same age as me, and I'm like kind of startled. I don't know what's going on. It's like that scene right before you get jumped or something. But they're all like smiling and giggling, and then they proceed to push one little girl forward, and who's like this, like laughing and giggling. and covering her face because she's like embarrassed. And then she says, "I think you're really cute." And then they all run away. And I remember just standing there like, what just happened? And so I sat there and I thought about it. And my interpretation was, this girl likes me, and not so much that this girl thinks I'm a boy, but this girl likes me, and that's really cool. So I'm gonna go tell my friends and brag about it. So I did exactly that. I went to my friends and I was like, hey, this girl, just came up to me, and this group of girls, and just said I was cute, and all this stuff, and like, like, look, I'm awesome. Look at this. And their reaction wasn't, wow, that's weird, or like, oh, do they know you're a girl? Um, it was like, oh, cool, where is she? Like, let's go try to find her. Let's go talk to them. Like a typical response just between like a bunch of guys. And I think that's really interesting. I think the most interesting part of that story is not, what happened or even my reaction per se, but was like the reaction of others to the situation. Um, and so yes, I have a few memories like this, and those are the only two that I'm going to share right now for the consideration of the length of this video. But I think that that kind of these kind of events like really attribute to like why I didn't come to this realization earlier. Why besides not knowing what trans was at this age, but not like thinking that there was something wrong with me that needed to be fixed, because all of these situations were kind of casually accepted by everyone around me. I think it might have been different if I went home and said, "Hey, mom, this is what happened to me at his birthday party. That's awesome, right?" And then maybe some parent would have stepped in and like realized that there was some kind of confusion going on, or at least that I was gay, or something, but that didn't happen because I didn't tell them. But also I think because being a tomboy when you're young is much more socially acceptable than like the other way around. So like a male acting more feminine is not as acceptable, but the tomboy thing is definitely much more acceptable. So parents are less likely to kind of have talks about their kids relating to like gender or sexuality. Also, I was always a really good student, so a lot of parents assume they're not going to interfere with a kid's life if, for one, they seem happy, and two, they're doing well in school. So I think like all of these factors kind of push towards no intervention by other social cultural forces in my life, and so I just thought everything was normal, and I assumed that that other people had the same things happen to them. And even I know these stories even before I identified as trans in my later years, and I would recant them to girlfriends when we're just like talking about our past, and it'd just be like, oh, haha, it was funny because I've always looked like a guy, and I didn't really think of it beyond that. They were just like another one of my millions of stories that I have from childhood that are funny. So yeah, so I just want to share that with you guys. Maybe I'll talk more about other stuff later. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.